Good day, I am Marsha Widzislaw from BSEd Social Science, and here are the things I have learned from the given learning material. So, what is the DepEd Order Number 8 Series 2015? The DepEd Order Number 8 Series 2015 is otherwise known as Policy Guidelines on Classroom Assessment for the K-12 Basic Education Program. And I learned the concepts that were in line with this DepEd order, namely the classroom assessment. So, the classroom assessment, it is a process of identifying, gathering, organizing, and interpreting quantitative and qualitative information about what learners understand and can do. And it has been said that this is the main reason why teachers need to conduct assessment, which is to determine if the learning inside the classroom really took place. And students should have positive climate or environment. Ang isa ka teacher should employ classroom assessment pero dapat consistent or connected siya sa curriculum standard. Katabang sad ang classroom assessment for teachers to give feedback sa learning progress sa students. So aside from classroom assessment, we also have two types of assessment, which are the formative assessment and summative assessment. And we are already familiar with these types of assessment since we have been discussing them many times. And when we say formative assessment, it is the ongoing, or which means to say that assessment happened before the lesson, during the lesson proper, and after the lesson. And there are two types of formative assessment, which are the individual and collaborative formative assessment. And from the word itself, the individual assessment enables learners to demonstrate independent independently, while the collaborative assessment, it is done with others while supporting each other's learning. On the other hand, summative assessment happens at the end of the lesson to measure whether the learners have met the content and performance standards. And what is the purpose of having these assessments? So, the purpose of having these assessments are to assess whether learning objectives were achieved, to allow the teacher to evaluate the effectiveness of instruction, and to assess if there's a need to reteach the lesson with appropriate teaching strategies, or is there a need for students' remediation. And moving on, I have learned the components of summative assessment as well, which are the written work, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment. As what I have understood, written work are those given at the end of the topic or unit, while performance tasks are given at the end of the lesson, focusing on a topic or skill lesson, and several times given during the quarterly. So in other words, this is like the prelim, midterm, and final exam. So in the classroom, it is assessed not just the students and teachers alone, but as well as the content standards, performance standards, learning competencies, and concept development. From the given learning material, I also learned about the grading system, in which it should be based on the standards, competency, and the minimum grade for the minimum grade needed to pass a specific learning area is 60, which is equivalent to 75 in the report card. So 60 is already the lowest mark for quarterly grades and final grades. In addition, core values are also reflected on the report card, since the goal of the curriculum is to transform the learners holistically, not just the mind but the overall being of the learners. So it is important that we should know about the DepEd Order number 8 Series 2015 and the different types of assessment as well as the grading system in order for us aspiring educators to be um, aware and prepare on our duties and responsibilities. Educators should adhere with this policy to effectively implement classroom assessment and the K-12 basic education program. And once again, this is Marcia Mrs. Lau, and that's all for my insights.